grab one of my color stacks to make one block for you. So again, the first thing we're going to do is just set up our blocks. And again, I'm just following the pattern here on page 10. This is the floating diamond Shoofly. So we have 4 light 3.5 by 3.5. So we've got a stack of 8 here. So we're going to take 4 of those. So 4, and that's going to be your blocks. Then we have 4 dark 3.25 by 3.25 inch squares, which are going to be your pound squares. So those 2 are going to make your half square triangles. And then we have 4 2.25 by 2.25 light squares, which are going to be your $sign squares. And then we have 1 dark 3.5 by 3.5 inch square, which is your percentage sign. So those 2 are going to make your floating diamond. And then lastly, we have 4 light 3.5 by 3.5 inch squares, which is your and sign. And that is going to be they're just going to be plain blocks. We're not piecing these. So I'm just going to put these up at the top for now. So I'm going to just go ahead and build those half square triangles and the 4 half square triangles and 1 floating diamond. So same technique that we've been going all the way through. So I'm just going to start with my floating diamond. So again, you're just putting your little square at the top left and sewing from corner to corner. Phase me over this one too. Okay, so I've got my half square triangles made and I'm just finishing up my floating diamond. So I'm just going to trim these last 2 corners. Open. Alright, so now we're going to set up our rows. So your first row is going to be one of your half square triangles, which are dark on the bottom right. Then you're going to have just a plain, one of your and sign square, light green, 3.5 by 3.5. Then you're going to put another half square triangle with your dark, the bottom left. Then for the center row, you're going to have another plain square. Then your floating diamond in the center with another plain square. Then half square triangle in your third row, top right is your dark with a plain square and then dark in the upper left. Okay, so same thing, we're just going to sew these together. I'm going to sew the first 2 blocks of each row. And again, there's no right and wrong way to do this. Some might choose to do the full row, like 1 row at a time. That's totally fine. I just I like to sew things in sequence, so that's why I do it this way. And of course, I need my 1/4 inch foot. Okay, I'm just going to take these off. So this is my bottom row, so I'm going to put this back down where it goes, where it belongs. This is my center, and this is my top. So I'm just going to sew the third piece on to each row. Okay, we now have our 3 rows sewn. So I'm just going to lay these out again to make sure we've got everything sitting the right way. So it should look like this. And again, we're going to press these so that our seams interlock when we put our rows together. So the top row, we're pressing away from the center square. So again, I'm just setting my seam. And then we're going to press towards our center square. Fix this seam. And the third row is going to be like the first row, we're pressing away. Okay, so now we're going to put our 3 rows together. So again, we're just going to flip number 1 onto number 2. And we're going to lock those seams. And again, if you're pinning, I'll just show this again. So once you make sure that you're nicely butted up against the bottom seam, I would pin across so that I can needle down into my seam before I have to remove my pin. Okay, so we're going to open this up, make sure you've got it sitting the right way. Make sure your seams are nicely joined here. And we're going to flip our 3rd row onto our number 2. And again, we're just going to make sure those seams are snugly, nice and snug together. And again, if you want to pin, you're just pinning across like that. All right. We now have our floating diamond shoofly. So I'm just going to press those, and again, we're pressing away from the center row, so I'm just going to set that seam. Press away. Just make sure everything's nice and flat on the back. So I've got mine finished. I'm going to go ahead and finish my other three, and you can go sew yours, and I'll be right back.